Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can everyone hear me?
Great, Ryan. Thanks.
Thank you, Ian. Well, yes, can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
All right, cool, fantastic, everyone. Well, good morning on this very warm Thursday morning on the 5th of October. We're very happy to have everyone here with us today. These weekly trainings are going to be centered a lot more around specific series. We are really looking forward to expanding our training and our webinars to include a lot more commercial elements. And the one thing that we're going to be speaking about today and for the foreseeable future is our very exciting new financing option. Because I think with everything that has been going on with the increases in load shedding and the oversupply in the market, what we've noticed is that there's just been such a significant jump in fly-by-nights. We've got a whole bunch of people just looking to make a quick buck off of vulnerable customers. And I think it's our responsibility as a listed entity to ensure that we maintain our value proposition and we stick to our one thing, which is value added distribution. I think that is the one thing that has going to help set us apart, and why we've been approved for financing is because the banks, the private third-party investors and financing houses, they know that we're not going anywhere because we've been around for over 120 years. So we can back our warranties, we can back our products and our solutions. And I think that provides a lot of assurance. I think there are going to be a lot more individuals who are just looking at trying to sell a container of panels or whatever new inverter there is on the market. Whereas I think through working with Hudaco Energy, that you are going to be with a company that is providing bankable tier 1 products and effective pre and after sales support, and will work with you hand in hand on this journey. And I think it's a critical point within our journey to introduce this financing, because I think from what we've seen is that if you look at the trend of almost end user solar purchases, is that we believe that there was this massive spike last year, and it was almost as if everyone who could afford cash went and purchased cash. But now there seems to be this next juncture, this next era in which we're going to be moving towards, which is essentially everyone else, the middle class, the people who are unable to provide a system that is worth 100K plus, and that's where the financing model comes in, and that's what we're here to discuss today. So without any further ado, I'm going to hop over to my slideshow here, and I think first of all I just wanted to speak a little bit more about Hudaco Energy, why we are your trusted partner for sustainable energy and storage. We are specialists in our name. However, the fact that we've been around for 120 years means that we are a trusted partner. We aim to be around for the next 120 years. And also we have that shared experience of being part of the Hudaco group, who has been around for over a century, and through that, there's been an accumulative knowledge base that has set us apart, and helped us create a very innovative and extensive logistics network. Because we're part of the Hudaco group, we have over 130 branches at our disposal. We have sister companies that span multiple industry verticals and segments, and through being part of this group, we're able to keep a very comprehensive stock holding, meaning I don't have to wait for stock. It's in our warehouse here. It's ready to go. And then I think once we start looking a bit more at of our soft skills, we have a team of very highly motivated pre and post sales support. Our head of technical, Mr. Ian Cook, is on the call with me today. One of the best people I know, especially from Cape Town. and someone who's highly passionate about providing his customers with exceptional after-sales support. And when you've got someone out there who's focusing on such a value-added backswing, it forms part of our commercial mandate to provide the same level of superior pre-sales support. So no matter what juncture you're in, no matter what point of the sales process you're in, you're going to be getting the absolute best service. And again, I mentioned it earlier, we would not be able to provide financing on tier 2 or tier 3 products. We only sell tier 1 products because we are providing energy systems for homes and businesses and for infrastructure that are critical solutions. We can't mess this up. So no matter how good your technical team is, if you're working with Fong Fong products, it's going to blow up in your face. So it might work with different other solutions. But when it comes to energy and when it comes to any form of electrical work, you need to focus on tier 1 products, and that's exactly what we've done. And that's the only products that we will sell. All right, now very, very briefly, I just wanted to provide a little bit more clarity into how we segment our business. So we have 3 segments. We have sub 6 to 50, and 50 plus kVA. We just recently introduced Luminous within the sub 6 kVA, and it is the most affordable per kilowatt hour inverter in the market. And again, a business that's backed by Schneider Electric, which is a global business. And again, fortunately, we've done our research, we've done our homework, and we've now brought in this product because we believe that this is what the market needs. It needs a solid, affordable sub 6 kVA inverter. And through our channel partners, we have recently launched this product, and we look forward to seeing just how much it's going to grow. But what we're really here to discuss today is 6 to 50 and above, our Sungrow and our Drinko systems, residential hybrids, and commercial industrial storage. This is the avenue in which there's a lot of opportunity, and we seriously mean a lot of opportunity. And once you start putting solar onto your backup power solution, essentially, if you get it right, you can have the system paying for itself. The saving that you're making on your electricity bill or on your diesel costs, these are all things that you can, through the financing model, you can actually help the system pay for itself just by the savings that you're making. And Mr. Ian Cook will go a little bit further into those details. But without any further ado, I just wanted to briefly touch on why, as an installer, you should be including financing into your offer. Well, first of all, it improves your accessibility. You're not just focusing on a specific niche that can afford a cash outlay. Ultimately, you're now opening the doors, lowering the barriers to a vast array of new potential customers, which is just an increase in sales opportunities. And that's really what we want. As for-profit organizations, we need revenue. We need new sales opportunities, and we need to find every opportunity we can to go through to our network, professional and personal, and to say to them that, listen, this is a product and a service that everyone needs. We like to say that our greatest advantage is everyone else's disadvantage, which is our power utility Eskom, and we can assure you that it's not going to get any better. And unfortunately, they can pour as much diesel as they want, but the diagnosis is a lot more systemic, and that is going to provide itself a lot more of a tax burden, as well as an electricity price burden. We used to be one of the most cost-effective electricity countries in the world, but now, as Eskom has run itself into the ground, we need to start looking at more independent solutions, and everyone else is thinking that. We used to get around the brine and talk about our Wi-Fi speeds, but now we start talking about, what are you guys doing about load shedding? Or shit, what happens when we hit stage 6 or stage 8? 12 hours of no power is just unacceptable. We deserve better than that, and everyone else is feeling that, and that's what we sense, is that everyone else is hurtful. They're angry. And we just want to make sure that we can be here to walk with them on their path to energy independency. Again, enhanced affordability for your customers. Again, now completely lowering the barriers. Now it becomes a lot more of a feasible solution. Instead of them having to, fork out a massive loan, they can start working at including it into their bond, and essentially just managing their finances more strategically in that sense, so that they can start moving towards procuring the solution from a rent-to-own model. And then, yes, shortened payback periods. The fortunate thing about being part of the southern tip of Africa is that we have an abundance of sun, and we need to utilize it. We always try and promote our customers to move towards including solar into their solution, because essentially you'll have a shorter payback period. If you're looking at a massive investment on a system, that payback period can be fairly strenuous and long term. Whereas once you start looking at a financing model, as I mentioned earlier, is that the savings that you can make on your electricity bill or your diesel costs can help justify the payment towards procuring this solution. And again, once you start including solar, as Ian will show you, you can essentially start having the system pay for itself. And I think in any market you're going to need some competitive advantage, and through working with Hudaco Energy now you have one. There's a lot of fly-by-nights, and mom and pop shops that are just trying to make a quick buck, and they're doing a hazardous job. We're seeing a lot of gray imports of really poor quality solar panels. And while it might seem like a good decision now because you're saving a couple bucks, once that panel stops working or only is giving you 50% utility after 2 years, you're going to end up with a bit of egg on your face. So that's why we have to provide our customers with that assurance that, through working with, tier 1 products, which is the solutions we provide, they're looking at a very long-term solution here. And again, it's in their favor, especially once they do it, on their home, and should they look to sell that home. I mean, there was some research done with real estate agents that said that, if they looked at houses that were in the market at similar price brackets, it was always the home that had solar that ended up making the sale more attractive and ended up getting that house sold. So again, you're thinking long term. You're thinking about increasing the net asset value of your property. If your customers are factory owners, these small businesses and things that are looking to become tenants, they are looking at landlords that can provide them with sustainable power. So it's within your ammo box to start looking at ways in which you can increase the competitive advantage of your business, because let me tell you, this is the reddest ocean I've ever experienced, and there are sharks coming to eat all your food. But it's really about not trying to take on the whole whale. It's about trying to understand, okay, cool, what is going to feed me and my business and help us grow at a rate that I'm comfortable with, and how can I make sure to fend off all these wannabes. And then lastly, risk mitigation. I think this is very important. Through working with a third-party finance house, they assume all the risk. So essentially all we need to do, ladies and gentlemen, is bring in the leads. We bring in the leads. We do a pre-qualification vetting process where we look at their solution. We look at their environment, the application. We provide them with the pre-sales quotation, and should they approve, we then move them and introduce them to the third-party financer, and then they begin their own credit application. And should that get approved, the risk shifts completely onto the third-party financer. We get paid. You as the installer gets paid, and us as the distributor, we get paid. And then the customer, the end user, then pays the finance house monthly, which means that we're under no obligation. Should that end user defaults on their payments, we're under no risk to assume that we would have already received our cash. And that's why, again, it is the smart option to look at. And again, partnering with us, we have a great relationship with these third-party financiers. They've vetted our business completely. They're not, a lot of the times, these guys aren't going to, vet or allow financing, on the installer base. And it's because, as a distributor, as a part of a listed company, we have got proof that, we've been around for a considerable amount of time, and that we're going to stay around because we have investors, we have people that we answer to, we're a due diligence company, we have compliance, check, everything like that. We have to go through a whole bunch of admin and red tape in order to be a business that a third-party financier will back. All right, and then my last slide, and so hand over to Ian, is just to look at the process. Okay, well, cool, Ryan. Do a lot of talking now. Now, how do we do the walking? All right, so essentially, I just wanted to run through the process with you, and then I think at the end of the session, we can field any questions, or you can, if you want, ladies and gentlemen, you can just provide your questions into the chat box, and then once I hand over to Ian, I can reply to them directly, or you can provide me pop me an email, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. So, homeowner contacts the installer by its various means, whether it's through a social media blast, whether it's through a billboard, whether it's just through email marketing, however you do. They've come to you and said, listen, they want a system for their house. However, they want to do it through financing, and can they do it? You, as the installer who wants that deal, who's hungry for that opportunity, you say to them, yes, ma'am, sir, we've got the right application, right solution for you. We're going to come do a site inspection. You go through to do a site inspection, you come back. You then generate a quote for the complete supply and installation. Remember, the way that it works when you partner with Hudaco Energy is that we provide you our hardware at TSC pricing, and then you add your markup and your installation cost. Then what's going to happen is that you can send a quote through to the customer, and should the customer approve the quote, we will then need to duplicate the quote on a Hudaco quotation, because we then need to provide that quotation to the financing house, because we have the relationship with the financing house. But never fear, don't fear, it doesn't end there. We're still walking the journey together. We will then essentially hand over the customer, the end user, to the third-party financer. They then do a whole bunch of credit checks, and let me tell you, it's a very arduous process, and I'm glad I'm not involved in it. But there's ID documents that are needed, there's pay slips, there's credit checks, there's a whole bunch of very fun and lovely financial vetting that happens, that we don't need to focus on. And then once that customer has been approved, we can then deliver the stock to the installer's premises or their head office, or to the end user's site, depending on what agreement we have with our business partner. And then once that's done, the site is commissioned, a COC is awarded, and then a happy letter is signed by the end user to say that they are happy with the installation, they thought the team was professional, and that we tidied up afterwards, because we're here to provide an exceptional experience to anyone who works with us. Then the financier pays us everything in full, and then we would then invoice the installer the full amount minus the TSC pricing for the hardware. So then you get your money, we've got in our money, the customer gets their solar solution, and everyone gets to play in the sun. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it from my side. I don't want to hijack too much of Ian's time, but I just thought that we should just spend a little bit of time around the commercial elements, because we're really excited. We think this is a game changer. We've already seen a lot of applications come through our way, and we're going to try and increase the cadence of these, weekly training sessions to include as much information as we can, because we need to work together. If we try to tackle this massive monster by ourselves, we'll come up short. But I think through working together, through harmonizing, and through a very clear-cut win-win proposition for both Hudaco Energy and our partners, there's nothing that will stand in our way. So thank you for your time, Ian. I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'll let you take over, buddy.
Excellent. Thanks, Ryan. That was really great. And from my side, welcome everybody. Thank you for attending. I'm really excited about the financial options, because it does make financial sense. unlike anything else in the market, solar actually has a payback. And the real added value about solar is that um, the PID over 25 years, for instance, your 5 kilowatt system will become a 4 kilowatt system. So at the end of 25 years, your system is still 80% efficient. And that all falls under the linear warranty. And nowadays, what is it that actually has a payback? There's very few things that actually pay for themselves. But having a look at the financial option, I think it makes excellent sense. I think load shedding is a blessing in disguise. It is one way to help everybody take part of this wonderful thing that we call solar power, um, and it uplifts people. So let's just have a look at some of the financials. Um, in my previous lifetime with solar, I was a project manager for a couple of companies, and we actually manufactured solar panels for um, the French market under Solar Direct. Under Solar Direct, we were probably one of the leading solar or CNI manufacturers and suppliers in South Africa. We had the only manufacturing plant in Bellville South, and we were also a part of the whole training scheme, bringing everybody up to a certain level for solar. Okay, but having a look at our our product, if we take, for instance, our product is not only for um, the 6 kilowatt, but if we're having a look at the 6 kilowatts and the value added, it is the world's most bankable inverter brand. We have hundreds of these inverters installed with very, very few comebacks or issues. And if there are any issues, the support on the inverter is excellent. If we have a look at some of the other guys that are doing finance options, there is some hidden text that says that yes, you will go for that system, but the support could take up to a few weeks. If you do have an issue, that doesn't really work with us. We support the product 100%, so the customer will always be assured of a working system. So just having a look at two products, I'm just going to run through them quickly. It's a 6 kilowatt inverter, 10-year warranty. If we're having a look at the 9.6 kilowatt lithium ion battery, it's also a 10-year warranty, 100% usage of that power and 6,000 cycles, which is more or less about 15, 16 years if you're looking at one cycle per day. And if we take this now, this finance option, and we add 6.4 kilowatts to the system, an average family consumption user with more or less about 33 kilowatts per day, and they more or less have a 3,000 Rand monthly bill. Looking at that solar payback, we're looking at about 4 years on that payback, which is actually really great. If we have a look at a normal CNI 100 kilowatt solar system, which is just going to be grid tied without without batteries or without storage, your average payback is 3 years. You could be looking at maybe even a 1 year payback if you go for a finance option through the bank. How that works is that your monthly payments back to the bank is less than what you would have paid for electricity. That's how you can get a 1 year payback on solar. But having a look at an energy storage system for a customer, if they're having a 3 to 4 year payback with energy storage, which means no load shedding, a 4 year payback is actually excellent. With energy storage. As we know, energy storage doesn't really have a payback. It is a luxury, but we can include that luxury into that solar system or into the whole finance option that the customer no longer has load shedding. They can partake in the huge amount of payback that they will get over the years with their solar system. So I think load shedding is actually a blessing in disguise. It's definitely going to uplift people, put more money in their pocket over the years to come, and it is definitely a value added. So just having a look at the price. So our matrix is more or less about R3 per kilowatt at present at that high end user. And if they go solar for the next 25 years under warranty, their cost per kilowatt is actually 60 cents per kilowatt. So we can see solar power definitely does have a payback, no moving parts, very low maintenance. It's definitely out of all the renewable energy solutions that are obtainable, it's definitely a winner. So this is our general matrix. I'll show you now. You can actually use this by yourself. It's a free firmware. It's called Enroll, and you can plot basically, you can work out the generation power month to month in any area. Actually, it's not really any area. They focus more on Johannesburg or Cape Town. But it's more or less something that one can work with when you want to work out your paybacks. So this is the, the matrix of a 6.4 kilowatt system and the generation. We're looking at 11 megawatt hours over the year. There was some input matrix here. The input matrix basically is the 6 RS with 6.4 kilowatt hours. 6.4 kilowatt peak with costings, and our payback is 4.5 years. We're just going to go to this graph. This is quite exciting for me. So if we have a look at our generation on the PV, we can look at 900 kilowatts all the way down to, 900 to 1,000 kilowatt hours generated per month. And if we add that, times that by R3 per kilowatt hour, this is basically our monthly costs. So we're looking at somebody that has a monthly bill of R3,000 a month. So at about R3,000 a month, we are generating very close to that R3,000. And if we have a look at the installment of that system, so it is a 6 kilowatt inverter with a 9.6 kilowatt hour battery and 6.4 kilowatt peak solar. The installment is going to be R3,895.40 per month for that system. It is offset by the generation of this column here. And if we look at the actual difference that the customer is now paying per month, they're paying in the region of R1,000 per month. That is for no load shedding. And at the end of 5 years, they have their own system that still has 5 years of warranty left, plus the solar that still has another 20 years. And that linear warranty will be at 80% efficiency after that. So to buy into the whole solar system, or the whole independent power that one can provide for themselves, they're basically paying 10,000 Rand a month. If we have a look at the end of that year for that system, that customer is actually only paying 10,000 Rand a month. And if the investment is 5 years, the amazing thing is that customer is actually only paying 50,000 Rand for their system. So that's definitely a value added. They're paying 50,000 Rand essentially for a 6.4 kilowatt peak plus a 6 kilowatt inverter plus a 9.6 kilowatt hour battery, plus an additional 5 years warranty on that system for 50,000 Rand. If we go a little bit bigger on the solar system, for instance, the figures actually look a little bit better. So we're still looking at a 6 kilowatt inverter with 10-year warranty, 9.6 kilowatt hour battery with 10-year warranty, 8.8 kilowatts on the solar generation. And this would mostly be a high-end consumption user of about 50 kilowatts per day with a bill of about 4,500 Rand per month. Have a look at the matrix. The payback is still more or less about 4 to 5 years. The present day consumption or present day price of electricity is 3 Rand, and their solar price for the next 25 years is 49 cents a kilowatt hour. Okay, so also matrix done, they're looking at about 16 megawatts per annum. I'm going to jump down to the sheets. Okay, so their generation here is more or less about 1.3 megawatts per month. Their cost for that electricity normally would be about 4,500 Rand per month, and their installment is 4,500 Rand per month. So with that generation, they are basically paying a difference of about 600 on average per month more. And at the end of the year, if we have a look at that same comparison, they're probably paying 4,000 Rand, 4,000 Rand extra per year. So over 5 years, you're probably looking at 20, 30,000 Rand for that same system is what they're actually paying, which is actually, for me, is actually incredible to see that we can actually get a system like this, being a high-end user and only paying 20 to 30,000 Rand for the complete system over 5 years, and then still being able to have the 20 years linear production of the solar panels, plus 5 years warranty on the battery and inverter. And then probably finally on this, Hudaco has to support all of these systems as per normal under the obligation of technical support through the Sungrow distribution agreements. So your customer will be assured of a system that is continuously working. So I'm just going to jump quickly here to the NREL thing, the NREL production. It's a solar GIS, actually. This is free for anybody to use. So it's an NREL geographical information system. I'm sure that some of you might already be using this. It's pretty easy to use, and here you can already get your monthly productions or your monthly generation forecasts for your customer if you do need to do a financial model. I have a financial model that has taken years to put together. So if you do need any assistance with the financial model or how to put everything together and get the graphs and the paybacks and the comparisons of what electricity, present price of electricity versus what electricity would cost you for the next 25 years, I'd be very happy to assist you for that. But having a look at some of that data or how one can get the data freely without going and purchasing a very expensive GIS. This is NREL. It's an American solar GIS, and it gives basically two points in South Africa that one can evaluate. For instance, we'll put in Johannesburg here. Okay, so we have Johannesburg. We'll then move on to the next point. Here we can add in our solar system. So here we can put the 8.8. Modules, we use premium modules. Here we can go with the type of roof or mounting structure. We will go with the fixed roof. Losses can be a lot less than that. 5% is okay. Yeah, we can go with our tilt. Remember, our tilt and our modules, we can't always put at the same latitude that the installation is on. Sometimes we have to factor in things like wind and other as-built scenarios. So we can't always put it in as we actually like, which is going to be probably 30 degrees on our latitude. But we could easily add in any angle that we want there. And then azimuth, 0 is north, and 180 is south. So we'll put it at north. We can then go to the next point, and here it will give us our production for month-to-month production. Okay, and that's always valuable to put into your proposals for your customers. Obviously, here you can also go by any size. You can use this for commercial, or you could use it for residential. Are there any questions? Okay. If there are no questions, I'll just show you the financial model. It's taken actually quite a few years to develop, as it takes everything into factor. Once we've done our solar GIS, we then come and we plot in our generation. Once we've done our generation, we will then come and put in our tariffs. Yeah, we're at 3 Rand per tariff or 3 Rand per kilowatt hour. And then we go to our dashboard. In our dashboard, we add in all the other matrix that is required. So sizes of system, kilowatt hours, it's already filled in, and we'll only fill in the pink things. Quite interesting to see is that our cost per kilowatts, or our price per kilowatt, is actually 21 Rand per watt peak. This price will come down the more solar panels that we'll add. We have 2 scenarios. Equity, which is 100% equity, means you pay for your own system, or you could go via the bank. Via the bank, we actually get a scenario 2. It's actually a 1-year payback, and that is because the monthly installments on our system is actually less than what we would have paid for electricity. Hence, we can actually get a 1-year payback out of a bank financed option. Right, so there's quite a lot of data. And then if we have a look at our scenario 1, we're having a look at our annual solar savings. And this accumulative all ends up being this payment back here, which means we're looking at about 3 million Rand savings that the customer can have on a system like this, which is actually awesome. I think that's why this load shedding is actually a nice boot under everybody's bums, to actually get them to partake in something and invest in something that's really going to add value over time. And as Ryan said, any home that has got solar on it is considered as a green home, and is always a home. Well, it's always a property that one could easily add 250 to 500,000 Rand additional onto the property. Very few people ask things about warranty and how old are the solar panels. Just as long as the infrastructure is there, it already adds that value, because people are already aware of how long solar panels last. All right, are there any questions? Right, do you have anything to add? Everybody's so quiet.
Ian, James here. So
Hi,
thanks very much
James.
for
Yeah,
that.
I think Ryan's having some technical difficulties.
Okay.
No problem. So I think maybe one of the things to add is since we started this campaign, we get bombarded with a lot of requests as well. So even though we hand the work out to partners, we are beginning to put a structure in place where as the calls come in and we start fielding them, a lot of the people are just asking for sort of quick quotes, subject to a site visit. So part of our strategy is we will optimize and we will streamline that process. We will then sort of hand it out to installers in the nearest areas. However, we are
Ryan
going to
will be with us now.
Thanks. We are going to adopt the approach where the work will be handed out to not only those people that are trained and certified. I mean, I see Greg was on the call. I see Kevin, you've done plenty systems. So that work will start being handed directly out to those people, not that just in the area or that are around or long term, but rather those that are using us as well. So almost like a sharing basis. In other words, when one company is using us to supply more and more, we will in turn be feeding those leads straight back to those customers, or to those partners, I should say. So I think that's just something to keep in mind as well, and yeah, as a nice reward system that way. Another thing I'm not sure if Ryan did mention, but because we have to submit the funding to the financier on our letterhead, we don't mind what you sell the units at, right? We're not concerned. We're not interested in, you need to sell it at the price that works for you to make your margin right. Obviously, the more you can sell it for, the happier we are to give you more of that back, and we just retain the tier C pricing from our side. Until Ryan comes back, then if there are any other questions, we're happy to field them. You can raise your hand. You can just turn your mic on and chat with us.
Hi, James. So I was having some issues there with my microphone. Yeah,
No
thank you. I think you summarized everything in a nutshell. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are very excited about the foreseeable future. You know, I think our whole industry was thrown upside down. And I think a lot of fly-by-nights and a lot of over-ambitious people invested a lot into stock. And I would just advise caution to everyone on this call and everyone that we speak to select partners that have proven track records. You know, while we might be relatively new to the industry, we're not new to the market. We're not new to South Africa. Our business has been around for over a century, and it's because we do things correctly and we do things the right way. And that's why these financiers are wanting to partner with us. So please keep that in mind. And please feel free to always communicate with us. You know, we are going to be ramping up our efforts in the foreseeable future. We're hungry, we're ready to eat, and we'd love to invite you to our table so that we can all dine together. But I think if there's no other questions, I did see some emails coming through to my mailbox. I'm going to answer them immediately. But yes, everyone, please keep an eye on your LinkedIn. Please keep an eye on your mailboxes. We're going to be sending through more promotions, some more thought leadership, and some more updates on our business. You know, we've grown tremendously over the past 2 years, and next year is going to be even bigger. But thank you, everyone, for your time this morning. Thank you. Yes, sorry, James.
Ryan, if I may, I know we had spoken about the 6 kVA unit. Please just bear in mind the 10 kilowatt single phase units are arriving. A couple of key points on there. We only have 50 available to us in the first batch. As they launch globally, the quantities are limited, so we only have 50 systems arriving in the first batch for us. And it's very important to remember the 10 kilowatt unit requires, in order to be able to deliver all 10 kVA, you require 5 battery banks, so 16 kilowatt hours. So your sizing, let's call it minimums that you should approach, is a 6 kVA with 9.6 kilowatt hours or more, and a 10 kVA single phase with 16 kilowatt hours or more. All right, and those should be available in probably the next week or so, roughly.
And then the 15 kilowatts and 25 kilowatt 3 phase is in the pipeline also.
Yeah, we don't expect those until sort of much later in the year, maybe even Q1, early Q1. So I would say don't commit a date of delivery to your customers yet on the 15 or 25 kilowatt 3-phase units. They're still coming.
Thank you very
All
much,
right.
James. Thanks, Ryan. So maybe just to recap, I think the 6 kilowatt is a great system to have on finance. It's probably one of the best. If you have a look at what the other guys are doing on the finance, and there's quite a couple of them, they're probably going with really cheaper systems. And once that system has been paid back, the warranty is also finished. This system will still have another 5 years after the payback. And also, if we're having a look at these matrices here, the possibility of owning this system for 20 to 30,000 Rand at the end of 5 years is possible. Granted, it would need to be somebody that is using the power so that they can offset that payment or the payback, but it is well possible that this product can facilitate those kind of financial gains that the customer can experience. So it's definitely a way to move forward, and it's a really nice investment. Okay, thank you, everybody. If there are any questions, please reach out, or you can even ask now. But if there are no questions, then thank you very much.